And notice that many things that you were wanting before were actually based on stress. And the body is saying no more to you. Whenever you are experiencing an increase in symptoms, like the fatigue just got a little bit worse, or you got a headache, or whatever your symptoms are, I'd like you to do one of my following calming down methods. That's the word. Alright, so calming down method 1 is called the heartbeat exercise. I'd like you to lay in bed and really focus all your attention on your heartbeat. How does it feel? Is it irregular? Is it calm? And become really aware of how your heartbeat feels. Listen for it like maybe 10 minutes at a time. And notice that maybe when you do this and when you're really listening, it might get a little bit calmer. This is called the heartbeat exercise. The yoga breath, exercise number 2. You're going to lay down, close your eyes, and imagine that you're breathing in via your feet. And as you breathe in, slowly the energy moves up towards the lower belly, then to the stomach, to the chest, to the throat, and finally to the mouth. And then you're going to exhale again all the way down, and you follow the energy stream all the way to your feet and hands, because that's where you're going to breathe out in this exercise. It's an imagination. There's not really air coming out of your feet and hands, but the energy sort of does. And you do this for like a longer period of time when you really do the deep breathing, but this time the reverse via your feet. The third exercise is the breath general. You're not going to lay down. In fact, you're not meditating or doing anything of that kind. But you're just focusing on how you breathe while you're doing activities, especially when you do activities. How's your breath when you're walking the stairs? How's your breath when you're talking to people? How's your breath when you're concentrating? Do you stop breathing for a short time? Do you hold your breath for a longer period? Is it irregular? Is it superficial? And try to maybe direct your breathing really, really deep to the lower point of the belly. There's a place in Chi what they're all focusing on. It's like 3 fingers below the navel, and that's what they say that we are connected with to the universe. And they breathe in all the way to that point, and then they exhale. Usually, this also means finding your natural breathing pattern, because it's very stressful to have an irregular breathing pattern. So what is your natural breathing? How is it like? It's of course for everybody a little bit different. Usually breathing out should last a little bit longer than breathing in. And a common theory about it is that it's like 3 seconds to breathe in, 5 seconds to breathe out. Can you hold this pattern for a day? Try focusing on it. This won't improve really, really fast. This is more like a determination thing. Maybe you can do this for months. And maybe after 4 months, you notice that your breathing is actually so light now and you feel so good. Then the next exercise is the body part exercise. And this exercise is sort of like a body scan, but then a slow version of it. So you take a 2 months period of time, and every time you're going to bed, you are going to focus on one specific part of the body. This can be the small toe on the left foot. You breathe in, you breathe out, trying to do that at the same time as well. But can you actually access that? Can you actually feel those spots? For example, I had like knee issues since I was 15 years old, And it turned out I cannot enter the left side of my left knee. And it took me like a month to be able to access it. So for a long period of time, every night I was focusing on one specific part of the body. I started in my left leg, and weeks later I was in my right leg, then my arms. Some spots were very easy to go to, and some spots were very hard. Usually the brain and everything is very easy, whereas the legs are very hard. The next exercise is the chi exercise, to always focus your attention to the part where you're making contact with the ground. Not just when you're in bed, but always. When you're working, when you're walking, feel where your body is making contact with the floor, maybe your bump with the bank, or your back with the bed. So you're always having your focusing downwards. This is actually a calming down thing. So try it. Then my number one sort of meditation that I'd like to do when I'm feeling an increasement of symptoms is breathing down from 300 to 0. So you breathe in, you have a number, you breathe out, you have a little bit less. I usually start with 299.99. So breathe in 299.99. Of course, there must be good breaths. Breathe out 298. Breathe in 297. Breathe out 296. All the way down to 0. I bet you're gonna feel way more calm when you're at 0. The next activity is slowing down. In this activity, you're going to do everything that you want to do in a day, or in an hour, doesn't matter. But you're going to do it like on 50 or 60% speed. So when you're cleaning, you're going to clean a little bit slower. And when you're talking, you're going to talk a little bit slower. And this way we're forced to be feeling more. And this is all these exercises are making contact with the body, because that's where the symptom starts. That's where the stress is stored. That's where the emotional issues are stored. So that's that one. And then one of my favorites is Here Now Self. So you take for a day and you make a promise to yourself that you're not going to think about another moment, another place, and another person's. So it's only here, now, self. What is here? What is now? What is in myself? Is there a feeling, or doesn't really matter? Just focus on what is. This is meditation, but meditation sounds so difficult. So I just call it Here Now Self. And the next exercise is conscious eating. And in conscious eating, you're going to chew a lot longer than usual. Chewing until liquid and no entertainment. So you're just going to sit there. You're not going to talk. You're not going to whatever you can do. You chew until liquid. And if your body feels like swallowing, like this is actually good for my body, you swallow. Maybe it turns out that the food you're going to eat doesn't really resonate with you. So maybe you can learn what your body actually would like to eat. At the same time, that when it's liquid, there's a lot of saliva, it's digesting way more easy into your body. And it's also a calming down method. When the body is, most people are feeling very stressed when they're eating. This is like when you're in a fight or flight mode. You see, for example, there's a big pool, and all the animals in the animal kingdom are drinking, but the deer is very aware, because for him drinking is stressful because he's exposed. Well, unfortunately, many people eat like they're exposed to some sort of threat, but in your house there's no reason to it. So calm down, no entertainment, chewing, swallowing, that's it. I know, sounds very normal, right? Sometimes our minds are very, very full, and there is so much we like to think about, and we keep rehearsing the patterns all over and over, and before we know it, we're caught in a loop of thinking. Well, before we do that, it's not really helpful. So this is called write it down. Write down your thoughts before you go to sleep, and maybe you emptied your mind with it, and it's getting more calm. So it's easier to do all the other exercises. And finally, a lot of calming down methods are just common sense. Nature is calming down. Grounding is calming down. Grounding like barefoot in nature. An alkaline diet is calming down. When you're stressed, usually you feel like eating fried food or like salty stuff or very, very sweet stuff. But alkaline foods, Google it. It's better for your body, especially when you're healing. Essential oils, they can calm you down. But I mean, all these things that cost money, I prefer just doing things that you can do straight away. But if you have the oils, use it. So all of these things will make sure that you calm down, and thus get in touch with your body. Learn what your body is actually telling you. Learn what your body actually wants. It's not about what your mind wants anymore. Your mind has lost the game already. So what does your body want? Start to establish a relationship with your body. What feels good and what doesn't. And notice that many things that you were wanting before were actually based on stress. And the body is saying no more to you. So this way, the stress bucket that you have filled up is getting a little bit less. Over time, maybe a lot less. And you feel like an increase of energy. That's what we're doing it for. So take care and calm the down.